What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Community Show. I am your host, the Notorious Nerdy D, and I am riding solo tonight. Each and every week, I talk the best and worst in pro wrestling. Whether you are listening on podcast networks or watching on YouTube, make sure to like and leave us a comment on this episode. As always, another 7 topics for you tonight. But before we get to that, last week I spoke about doing a fantasy wrestling league, and it is still in the works. I'm a little bit behind on organizing it. Had a family emergency I had to tend to this week, so wasn't able to. I've got everybody's names who asked. I've got you jotted down on a list. I'll next step is to confirm people who are really serious about doing this and the people who might have just jumped in and said they wanted to do it. We'll figure it out. We'll get it going. A lot of people responded. A lot more people made it to the end of the episode than I thought listened to the entire episode. That's fucking awesome. Thank you guys so much for that you're listening to an hour and 20 minutes of what I talk about. But here's the deal. So there's 15 spots in the league, and I'm going to take one, and then there'll be 14 spots left. If the demand is what I think it is, it looks like it's going to be high, we're going to run 2 leagues, and we'll run kind of the A league, and then we're going to run the B league, and we'll do it kind of like soccer does, where at the end of the season, we'll relegate teams up and down based on who performed well, who wants to continue playing. We'll do things like that. So give me probably till next week. What I'm going to do next is put together a form on the website so that what you have to do in order to create a league is you have to sign up first. So everybody who wants to be a part of it is going to have to go to dropthebelt.com, and it's free. It's 100% free. You have to make an account, and then somehow you're going to have to get that screen name you use, because I have to have that exact screen name to get you into the league. So that's the next step. The next step is trying to organize everybody who wants to do it. You got to go to dropthebelt.com, sign up, whatever your screen name is, drop it in the comments, and we'll start to put together a more solid list based on that. But the response was fucking awesome, and that got me excited because that's fun. I'm excited. We'll draft. We'll run it just like fantasy football does, but it'll be a fantasy wrestling, and it runs through December 23rd. Is how long this season is. So that will be fun. Top story of the week in the wrestling world. NXT Black and Gold is back. Kind of. Not fully. Sort of. It's like black, gold, and white. At the end of NXT 2.0 this past yesterday, we got a little teaser from Shawn Michaels that said, hey, this is NXT, and the bright, colorful Nickelodeon logo faded away. The 2.0 disappeared, and what popped up was a black, gold, and white new logo. So NXT is seemingly the reset I talked about. It's here. It's no 2.0, but it sounds to me like it's still going to be the developmental side of WWE. It's not going to be a third brand like a lot of people want it to be, but I don't think it needs to be. We didn't get a lot of details. We haven't got a lot of details. They haven't told us much, but it looks like it's going to be an NXT rebranding, just like I said about a month ago. Not a hard reset. It's not a halt. We're not getting rid of a bunch of people, but it's definitely going to be a slight change in direction. My question coming out of this article and this news is this officially the funeral of Vince McMahon as far as WWE is concerned? I think it is. I think this is the last burial. This is the last remains. We're taking the last little hold of WWE that Vince McMahon had, and we're going to bury it under the ground, and we're starting fresh. And this is 100% now Triple H's WWE. Look, we're one full premium live event now away from Vince McMahon. SummerSlam was a last minute thing that was probably Vince McMahon's design, and Triple H came in and put some fingerprints on it. But now we've had Clash at the Castle, and it's seemingly people enjoy Clash at the Castle. The reviews are overwhelmingly positive on Clash at the Castle. We now have a WWE roster that feels a little more cohesive. We've got guys that have come back that we might have been missing. We've got guys like Kevin Owens and Ciampa who are headed more in the right direction now. We've got the Intercontinental and the U.S. title. They start to feel like they mean something again. I think we've kind of put to rest the idea that Vince McMahon is ever returning to WWE in a creative capacity at this point. For all the conspiracy theorists who said he was pulling the strings, pulling like a puppeteer from behind the shadows, I think it's official. I don't think that's a thing. I think this is Triple H. I think Triple H he's guiding the ship, because this is a return to the Triple H NXT. Look, I mean, this is even Adam Cole, a guy who was a big deal in NXT. He even tweeted an emoji taking notice of the change, because I think he looks at it and he goes, that kind of hits me in the feels right there. And I said it a couple weeks ago, but all eyes are on the WWE. All the positive eyes right now are on the WWE, especially the eyes of talent, AEW and WWE talent. Everybody's looking at WWE to kind of see what direction they take things. And the IWC, they can try all they want to spin this great AEW reset, because it went from an AEW civil war to now it's basically the IWC spinning it as, this is the AEW reset. We're going back to the 4 pillars. Now, you just had a bunch of guys fuck up, and now you've got to go back and try to salvage what you've got left. But in this great AEW reset, you guys are trying to call this a good thing. It's a complete clusterfuck. It's a clusterfuck, right? So all eyes are on WWE. And Triple H has the wrestling world right now in the palm of his hand. And with each subtle little nod that he makes back to the fans, where he takes something that Vince McMahon kind of fucked up, be it allowing wrestlers to say certain words or changing just the colors of a logo, he continues to take a firmer grasp of not only this casual fan base that WWE has always had a hold on, but you're starting, even you can tell by the way the crowds are reacting. There is a hardcore WWE fan base starting to rumble up from the depths of wherever they were hiding. They're starting to come back. Is much going to change in NXT? I don't know. I didn't watch much Black and Gold. I know people loved it. I didn't watch a shit ton of the NXT 2.0. I've dabbled in it. I do know it's not going to look like it's on Nickelodeon anymore. I do know that there's going to be nostalgia. And I do know that if Triple H is in control, that, yeah, it's probably going to start to feel like some kind of hybrid. It'll probably never be what Black and Gold was, but it's also not going to be this loud, in-your-face Nickelodeon developmental thing. Imagine not watching or not keeping up with NXT, and you tune into SmackDown this Friday, because this is the type of things. This is what we can expect now from Triple H. Imagine not watching or not keeping up with NXT, and you tune into SmackDown, and all of a sudden Solo Sikoa is holding a belt, because that's what happened, guys. That's what happened on NXT this week. Solo came back and beat Carmelo Hayes, and he's now the North American champion. So another belt added to the bloodline. Imagine, like, this is the kind of things. This is the Black and Gold. This is the intertwining. Well, I said it's not a third brand, but I think Triple H he's gonna do little things to make you pay attention to NXT. And I said, shit, at this point, let's just have Sammy go down and win the NXT title from Braun Breaker. And let's just let the bloodline have all the titles, because I'm all about this. As long as they continue to find innovative ways to make the bloodline interesting, there is zero reason to break them up or end this. I know I want to get to the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens show where they're a tag team and they defeat the Usos, but there's no rush. There's no rush to get to that point. But it does feel like, to me, for the first time in a long time, the kind of Game of Thrones regime in the WWE is over. The back, the stabbing in the back, the politics, it doesn't look to be as present right now. Shawn Michaels seems to have a hold of NXT. Triple H seems to be able to run WWE main roster shows pretty well. Look, the Bruce Pritchards and the Johnny Aces, they were trying to undercut Triple H. That's what happened with NXT Black and Gold. They tried to come in when Triple H had his heart conditions, and they tried to take the legs out of Triple H because they saw Triple H. They saw this before everybody else did. They saw the potential Triple H had, and they go, we've got to cut this off, because once the world figures out that Triple H is really good at this, we're gone. We're dinosaurs. We're not needed anymore. Triple H feels like he's leading the commercial professional wrestling market. Triple H, he's got it in his hand, and he's got a firm grasp on it. And for the first time, it feels like there is a true kind of general leading the soldiers into battle. We have a clear plan. We are moving forward, and WWE feels like it's headed in the right direction. Last thing on this was just, this kind of popped into my head as we were talking about Sami Zayn, and that was a joke, but now I think there's an angle. There really is an angle if they wanted to send Sami Zayn, and this is a long shot. This is a for fun booking moment where I go off on my side tangents. But there is an angle where you send Sami Zayn down to NXT. You let him beat Braun Breaker, because Braun Breaker's not a guy that needs to be unbeatable. It actually feels good to have Braun lose, and then he did it with Dolph, and then kind of reconquer mountains. So you have Sami go down, win the NXT title. And then fuck it. At Survivor Series, we do some kind of NXT versus the Bloodline type of thing where now all of these titles are kind of intermixed and these shows are intermixed, and it's NXT trying to reclaim a little bit of that like respect back. I think it could be fun, right? Like Sammy, the Usos, CeeLo versus Braun, Carmelo, and any solid NXT tag team. I don't care which one. Not saying it's going to happen, but it could actually be pretty fun. All right, so moving on from the NXT news here to, unfortunately, what's happening in AEW, because it's still happening. This isn't going to go away anytime soon. And it really is unfortunate. I don't say that as like to be a smartass. It is unfortunate because I don't want, as much as people think, I don't want AEW to fail. That's not good for the professional wrestling business at all. I'm not pro CM Punk. I'm not pro Bucks. What I said last week was all said because it's just kind of my opinion on who I thought was right and who I thought was wrong. If you want my honest, just blatant opinion, I'd fucking fire them all. I said it last week. I'd say it now. Just fire them all. Get rid of all of the cancer and the like. I joke about the reawakening or whatever we're calling this, the rebirth of AEW and the 4 pillars. I joke about it, but I think that's the right idea. It's kind of go back to what got you here and ride with the guys you got. Ride with the Moxleys, ride with the MJFs. Those guys can handle it. But this is reality, man. This is really what's happening, and it makes for fun conversation. It makes for great podcasting material. From a casual wrestling perspective, it is fun to jump in and talk about it. So for this week's This or That topic, I'm still intrigued by the drama, by the CM Punk and Elite drama. I've seen like all of the news websites, all of the dirt sheets, all of the rumor mills, all the Sportskedias and these different sites. I've seen them run a million articles to get their clickbait headlines. But one that made me laugh was would CM Punk ever consider going back to WWE? At this point, guys, I don't think that's an option. I think most people would agree. There's a 0% chance that CM Punk returns to WWE. So we could throw that out the window. But AEW still hasn't made, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. Now, if it happened during Dynamite tonight and I wasn't paying attention, but I don't think there's any official statement on how long or if these guys are actually fired. CM Punk, I don't think we even know officially his full suspension and the time frame. We don't know, like Kenny Omega's in Japan doing some stuff for the video game. So are you really suspended, or did you just take a break to go do things that needed to be done? Nothing's clear. It's really muddy. And this is my problem with Tony Khan. You have to address this and let people know that you're in control. But getting off that, it led me down a rabbit hole in my head for this week's This or That. I wanted to ask the question, and this is for anybody who's listening to the podcast. I want you guys in the episode to answer this question for me so that I can compare it and we can kind of have a conversation about it. But if you're starting a wrestling company today, somehow you inherited a bunch of money and you're able to buy a wrestling company or create a wrestling company, and you are offered either Kenny Omega. Let's not just do Kenny Omega. Let's do Kenny Omega and or the Young Bucks. You can take them as a package, or you can just take Kenny Omega. Or you can have CM Punk. Who are you choosing to start your new company with? So for me, there are a lot of factors at play. I wouldn't just jump right in. This isn't a decision that I just make without having to work through in my head and figure it out. Because right off face value, 3 guys for 1 guy seems like, yeah, all right, fuck it. Let's do that. But I'm a casual wrestling guy. If I'm trying to run a company, it's to make money and it's for casual marketability. That's what I'm going for. I don't need to be regarded as the greatest wrestling booker, and I don't need to be known as the guy who has the best wrestling talent. What I want to do is make money, sell t-shirts, and have people sit in the fucking seats. That's it. So let's look at the options. Let's say we package together. We decide to go all in and we get Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks together and we start a company with them. This is a movie we've seen before. This is the AEW playbook, minus Jericho and a couple guys and Cody Rhodes. But this is a core part of AEW, right? You're going to get value, right? Because you're getting a tag team and you're getting a big superstar. But is there an actual market of commercial viability with these guys? Omega has never been the main guy in a substantial wrestling company. He has been one of the guys numerous times in AEW, but there's never been a company on my back. I'll carry you to the mountaintop. And don't give me New Japan, because that's not commercial mainstream wrestling. That's Japanese wrestling. It's a whole different thing. I'm talking about United States national on television where the big money is. I'm talking AEW and WWE. Those are the companies I talk about when I talk about commercial wrestling companies. And Omega's never been that guy. And I know like WWE has global appeal. AEW, not quite so. I'd say AEW is a little more local right now. So I tend to use WWE as a way to gauge where a guy falls, and I like to make a comparison when I talk about, and I know these PWIs come out, but they're complete bullshit. Seeing the new one just fucking made me laugh because I don't even know what are the fucking credentials for PWI. I guess it's how many fucking flips you can do, and I guess they just couldn't deny Roman Reigns was the best this year. But like when you look past that, it's a joke what that fucking list is. Fuck that list. But so what I like to do is I'll take Kenny Omega and I try to draw a comparison to somebody in WWE. He's not Roman Reigns. He's not Drew McIntyre. He's not Brock Lesnar. You can't put him on a poster and people who don't watch wrestling, they don't notice. Roman Reigns, he's a big monster. Drew McIntyre, big monster. Brock Lesnar, big monster. He turns the heads of everybody, those guys. So he's not in that echelon. This is not just about wrestling skills, guys. Calm down. If I start comparison, where is he to like AJ Styles? I think he's better on a microphone than AJ Styles. They're probably pretty equal in-ring performers from my eye test. But like when I look at Kenny Omega, his ceiling is kind of set. We've seen the best of Kenny Omega. I don't think he's going to get better. So I think his skill set closest resembles in WWE Seth Rollins, maybe, right? He's like a Seth Rollins that hasn't resonated with the mass fans the way Seth Rollins does. And maybe that's because Kenny's never been in WWE. But look, that's a great comparison. I hold Seth Rollins in high regards. Now, honestly, I don't know with the Young Bucks. I don't know who I'd fucking compare him to. I really don't know because they're kind of all over the fucking place. And to be honest with you, if this is like a real thing and I'm sitting down, I don't even know if I want the Young Bucks. I might just take Kenny Omega, but if you package them into the deal, you're getting a tag team that a lot of people, including myself, think they're overrated, but they're not bad. They're an above average tag team. And then you're getting Kenny Omega. So you're getting a good, like it's a solid group of people to start a company with. But here's my issue with CM Punk. My issue with CM Punk is if we're talking CM Punk right now, I'm getting CM Punk after the media scrum. How bad did Tony Khan and AEW damage the CM Punk stock? Because if I'm going back and I'm getting CM Punk on August 20th when he makes his debut in AEW, no question who the fuck I'm taking. I'm booking him the way he should have been booked, and I'm creating a fucking wrestling monster out of him. But this is 2022, and we have a fractured CM Punk. He has been fractured, possibly mentally, possibly commercially, and possibly physically. He's injured. He fucking looks frustrated, and his commercial viability looks like it's taken a hit. Like half of his fan base might have fallen off. Now, like I said, I'm not a bitch like Tony Khan. When it comes to CM Punk, and CM Punk joins my company, first thing we do is we're sitting down at a table, and I'm saying, you're going to have to act right. This isn't like, I'm going to make sure shit runs smooth and I will run this the right way. But if we're going into business together, we're going into business together, and you're not going to call the shots. And at 43 years old, CM Punk, you're not going to work these long physical matches anymore. We don't need that from you. We can get plenty of young guys to do that. What you're going to do for me, Punk, is you're going to be the heel that nobody can touch. You're going to be the heel that leads a group of new young guys into this new era of wrestling. Kind of what the Judgment Day was supposed to be with Edge. We need you to do that. We need you to put over and bring up a group of new wrestlers and teach and almost be my coach, my talent scout, while creating a company that's viable. So let's assume that we book him like a monster from day one. Let's just assume we do that. I think he goes over. I think he's a bigger draw than Kenny Omega. Let's even assume that we lost 40% of his fan base after the AEW shit. I think we can win back 20 to 30% of that if he's booked correctly. So CM Punk is still a commercial. He holds commercial weight in American televised wrestling. It is what it is. There are a lot of people still siding with CM Punk. That just means, I think that if I'm breaking this down, honestly, I think that CM Punk puts more asses in seats than Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I just do. He may not be able to out wrestle them at this point in his career, but that's not when I'm starting a wrestling company. He can tell a story. He can get over with the crowd and people fucking like him. I'm just not confident. That Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have that kind of compass. I think Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks want to have fun. I think they're in AEW to have fun. I think that they want it to be a fun thing for them. I think they want to be over. They don't want to put people over. They want to be over. They want the internet praise. They need the IWC to stroke their fucking egos every night. When they get on the Twitter, they need to see everybody tell them how good they are. They need titles. We need trio titles. We need tag team titles. We need a belt that we can carry around so when we go to the fucking bar, everybody knows who we are. That's what I really think that the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and I'm not basing this off anything than just other than the shit it's just the eye test, right? But that's what I think. I don't think they give two fucks whether AEW is truly successful in the long term. I don't think that Kenny Omega gives two fucks if Tony Khan makes any money off that AEW video game. I think all he gives a fuck is that he gets to make the video game he wants. They're playing with house money. They know Tony has the money and they're just playing with house money. That's what they're there for. Omega is great. Possibly amazing in the ring, I guess, but that doesn't seem to resonate. He's not. If he was as good as the IWC makes him out to be, AEW would be in a lot better position, and he wouldn't just be another guy in a sea of wrestlers. He is the IWC wet dream, along with the Bucks. He ticks all those boxes, does all the right things, all the things that the internet fucking loves. But like, if you tell me I could have CM Punk right now, and let's sweeten the pot a little bit just for fantasy fun here. Let's say that I'm told I got CM Punk and FTR or the Briscoes, one or the other. Fuck it. I don't even care who's on the other side. I pick up my pen, I sign the fucking contract, I go, let's go into business. So there's no question. If we go CM Punk with a tag team that is equal or at least just kind of close to the Young Bucks, I'm in. I'm sold on this. Look, let's be honest about the Young Bucks for a minute. Let's take a minute. Let's be honest. They're not more commercially successful than the New Day or the Acclaimed. And the Acclaimed are in their company. And they're not more over or commercially successful. They might get over and people may like them and they might got a ton of personality, but it doesn't translate. There's not a ton of Young Buck shirts. Young Buck. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Are they the best flippy flip wrestlers in the industry? Yeah, they are, probably. They do a lot of super kicks, a lot of flashy moves, but nobody in the real world, the casual fans, the grandmas, the kids, they don't buy into that shit on a weekend. They need a story. They need to, there's just something fucking missing there. And the truth still remains that at the end of the day, I do believe these are the kind of guys that got jealous when the new kid CM Punk showed up and got Tony Khan's attention. So they're bad for chemistry to begin with. Who can you pair? If you start a company with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, you know that's the ceiling. You can never get anybody who threatens that spot for them. With CM Punk, I don't think it's about being the best. I think he knows that he is best for business, and he saw a direction that a company needed to move. And when the pieces started trying to undermine that direction that he saw, yeah, he lost his shit. So CM Punk, Kenny Omega straight up, I'm taking CM Punk. CM Punk or the Elite as a package, I'm still taking CM Punk. If for some fucking reason you guys are giving me CM Punk and FTR, then I don't even like Elite who? Punk has the higher upside, even at 43 years old. It's the truth, man. All right, so since Triple H has taken over WWE Creative, Kevin Owens has been on literal fire. His promos and in-ring work have surpassed the praise that I gave him just 6 months ago when I called him the best all-around pro wrestler in the world. Still stand by that statement. When you look at every statistical category, in-ring work, promo ability to get over with the crowd, nobody comes fucking close. Not even Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns, like, marketability is probably higher. Just casual appeal, probably higher. But when you average out the whole line, and we're talking from the flippy flips to the fucking merchandise, like the whole package, nobody comes close to Kevin Owens, right? And I think he's been in... this last little heel run has kind of solidified. Even the bullshit with Vince McMahon when he was just comedic was still really good. But now he's been on a little bit, I felt like he was leaning into going into a little heel persona, and it felt good. So my on a scale of 1 to 10 question this week that I want everybody to answer in the comments is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much should we start to panic now that the rumor is Triple H has shifted Kevin Owens over internally to the babyface side of Monday Night Raw? Answer that for me, guys. Because I'm going to say, we have to set the alarm at like a 3, at least a 3. We can't go 0 here. I want to go 0 because I want to put my faith in Triple H, but we have to at least go a 3. I get you could still be a babyface, and you could still be badass in the Triple H era. It feels like that's something that can happen. But man, I still have a hangover from the Vince McMahon era of wrestling. And babyfaces did not, if your name wasn't John Cena or Hulk Hogan, there just wasn't a lot of room. Like, Stone Cold may be the one guy who was able to walk that line, but it just doesn't feel like a lot of babyfaces get over in the way that I want Kevin Owens to get over, right? Kevin Owens is best when he doesn't have a set of constraints, when he doesn't have rules, when he's just in a sandbox and he's allowed to be Kevin Owens. And if that's where we're going, Triple H, cool. If you're just calling him babyface because you need to write his name down on one side of that line, I'm all with you. But it scares me when I hear Kevin Owens and babyface. It bothers me. It takes me back to, like, are we getting Kevin Owens putting other people over? Because it felt a little bit, it did feel a little bit this week like Kevin Owens was being used to kind of correct the path of Theory. Instead of just letting Kevin do Kevin came out and there was a fucking amazing promo. I'm not going to, like, great promo. He killed it. So much passion, fucking spoke the truth. It was great. But it did feel like the intention of that promo was to get Austin Theory back on the correct path. Once again, that's why this is a 3 and not a 7, because it all worked. But it only will work until it doesn't work. And I think we'll be fine. That's why I'm saying 3. I think we'll be fine. I'm not going to put a 7 alarm alarm here. But I will say I'm just not fully confident. I'm not a 0. There is no Monday Night major title right now. There is no WWE title that is a major title on Monday Night Raw. So that leaves us with this weird void right now that guys are having to navigate. Guys like Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. It leaves these guys thinking, what is my goal? What is my purpose for being here? Because everybody can't go challenge Roman Reigns. And to be honest right now, it's almost a punishment to to be put into a title match with Roman Reigns, because it's seemingly until WrestleMania or until they figure something out, that is a death sentence. You're going to go get squashed. All the momentum you've built up is just to elevate Roman Reigns to another level. So there's muddiness right now for me. Is this what we're getting right now? Are we building towards Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory? Or is this still weirdly feel like Kevin Owens is hyping up the Theory Gargano feud that's coming? Like, I can't tell. That's why there's a little bit of alarm for me. And much like the CM Punk situation, you can't wait too long to capitalize on a guy whose iron is hot. A guy like Kevin Owens. Right now, Kevin Owens is as hot as I think he can fucking get. And if you wait and you run this the wrong way, he can cool off. I still believe, and a lot of people have argued this with me, but I still believe the best path for Kevin is a tag team run with Sami Zayn, where they while they straighten out this world title bullshit, let everybody else fuck around in that muddy mess. And you go win the tag team titles every week. Let everybody see you holding a belt with your best friend, Sammy. It could be fucking great. Hold the belt for like 6 to 8 months. Hold the belt through WrestleMania. Break up right before WrestleMania. Have a steal the show match at WrestleMania. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. It'll fucking blow the lid off. It'll be the sleeper match of the night. Let Roman go blow his fucking load with The Rock. And then Kevin Owens can get to real business once all that shit's done. Because that's what we're waiting for. We're just in holding until The Rock and Roman Reigns get to have this dream match. And then we can get into real business in wrestling. And that's okay. Like, Roman deserves that big payoff, that big moment. It'll set the world on fire. It'll be great. But let's be honest. Until we get that, we're in holding. Especially with the Universal title. If we can't get the WWE title off of him. It's just the babyface word is frightening to me. It still is frightening to me. And maybe I'm wrong for that. There's a huge possibility I'm wrong for that. But when I hear that, I think John Cena, and I don't think Kevin Owens can be John Cena. I don't think Kevin Owens can be Hulk Hogan. I do think that Kevin Owens can be a Stone Cold, even though I don't think anybody's ever really been able to capture that Stone Cold essence in a bottle. You know, they tried to say Becky Lynch did it, but I don't think she did it to the level. Like, I want Kevin Owens to succeed, and it scares me when they tell me babyface, when I hear the rumors that he's being moved to the babyface. It's possible, just makes me really nervous. And question, y'all can leave this in the comments as well. Who are the best babyfaces of all time? Like, the ones that got over the most. When I look at, like, when I resonate with heels, and I think most adults do, to be honest with you. Like, there's fans of, I get Hulk Hogan and I get John Cena, but like, when I start looking, who are the best baby faces of all time in professional wrestling? It's a hard list for me to make, because my knowledge of wrestling's not great, but that's why I want you guys to tell me, who are the best baby faces of all time? All right, let's jump into the rumor mill. So I pulled some rumors off of a couple different dirt sheet sites that we'll talk about, and we'll have a little bit of fun with. The first rumor is, there is a rumor going around that the Elite, more specifically the Young Bucks, have sent out feelers to WWE to gauge interest in a Young Bucks to WWE, whatever, crossover. First off, I don't believe that's true. I don't think they're that stupid. Hopefully they're not that stupid, because I don't think WWE wants anything to do with any of those, like, quote unquote AEW hardcore guys. I don't think they really want Kenny Omega at this point. I think he's kind of tarnished himself. I don't think they want the Young Bucks in WWE. I think they've kind of written themselves off. Like I said, I don't think they want anything to do with CM Punk. I think they look at their roster and they go, we're fine. We don't need this fucking drama. I know there's a couple guys like Kevin Owens who would like to see the Young Bucks in WWE. It's just unfortunate that at a certain point you wear your welcome out, and I don't think Triple H is in the business of bringing in problem children. I don't think that's what he wants to do, especially when there's other guys available who, at younger ages and maybe just different skill sets, I'd rather get my hands on FTR, get them back in WWE, and then use them correctly. But I think that's a bullshit rumor. And even if they did, how stupid are they? There's a rumor running around that Roman Reigns is going to be forced to drop one of his titles. This rumor's been around forever, but there's a little bit of a side thing going on here. The rumor is that the way they're planning to do this is with Triple H just showing up one day and demanding that Roman Reigns either start defending his belt on Monday Night Raw or to turn it over. This, to me, has always been the best possible option. I always felt like the best way to book Roman out of 2 titles was to have Roman just kind of leave one of the titles. To have him show up on Monday Night Raw and go, I don't need 2 titles to be the man. And just set one down and go, you guys can have this one. And I'll take mine. The only other option that I've ever seen was to actually unify those 2 titles and then create a new heavyweight title on Monday Night Raw, which is still an option, but I think lineage is a little bit of a thing in WWE, so I think they want to keep the lineage of the WWE title. So yeah, I think the best option is to just have him, or have him do something, have him come to Monday Night Raw, do something very, Roman Reigns-ish, and strip him of that title. I think that's the best way. And then let him go live his life on SmackDown where he shows up. It's working on SmackDown. The Roman showing up once every 3 months for some kind of big match, it's working on SmackDown. It's not working on Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw feels like with 3 hours of wrestling, it really could benefit from having a major title. The last rumor, and this one makes me laugh every year, every time I read it, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar both rumored to be working the Saudi show. Come on, man. Let's stop doing this. I thought we were done. I'm okay with Brock. Brock could come back. Brock could have a one-off. Brock and Drew would be fun. Brock and Karrion would be fun. Brock and Braun could be fun, even though I don't think they like each other. So there's possibilities for Brock. But Goldberg, I read Goldberg and Omos. That's a fucking shit show. I mean, unless Goldberg's coming back to just truly put someone over, no. Please don't do it. I'm done with Goldberg. I'm done. Like, stop. These Saudi Arabia shows, man, they could be good shows, but not if they're going to be nostalgia, and not if they're going to be so catered to the Saudi audience that it's just bring back the guys that they know who they are, that they're really excited for. The Saudi show can't interrupt everything that's going on so abruptly that you need to bring back multiple old stars. So I'm like, fingers crossed this isn't a real thing. I'll take Brock. Brock's fine, but please, just please, no Goldberg. It's time. Like, it is time for Goldberg to hang it up or come back and put together a solid run if you're going to wrestle. But Goldberg can't just show up for one-offs. It doesn't work for me. All right, so we've got the segment we started last week, and we're going to do it this week, the Casual Curve, where I grade matches from the past week of wrestling. This week, I graded the best and worst matches from SmackDown and Raw, and then I put in a notable mid-card match that I wanted to talk about. Right off the bat from SmackDown, I thought the top match of SmackDown this week was Drew McIntyre versus Solo Sikoa, however you say that name, with last-minute interference from Karrion Kross. I graded it about a 90. It's an A. Gets a 5-point bonus extra credit for the Kross interference at the end. Look, man, the Bloodline has great chemistry. Even when Roman Reigns isn't there, it still feels like a spectacle. And I think adding Solo to this, the Bloodline, they feel like the whole crew's there when Roman's not there. With Sammy, you got the Usos, you got the whole thing. It's great. Sammy has the perfect comedic timing. He's the him and Jay stuff is great, that they don't like each other. I didn't love the camera effect at the end of the show. I didn't love that the choke ended with like a choppy gray scale camera angle. And I also didn't love that Drew McIntyre never went limp to sell the choke. He should have gone black. Like, he should have gone blackout. Arms should have dropped. He fought it the entire time. The show should have ended with Drew McIntyre. You want to make Karrion feel dangerous? The show ends and Drew McIntyre is completely passed out, and we have to go a week wondering, is he even alive? So that to me was a solid main event for SmackDown. The worst match on SmackDown, and this is, so I want people to understand, by this being the worst match on SmackDown, that just means it was the one I enjoyed the least, and it still wasn't a bad match. SmackDown has been incredibly good lately. But SmackDown's worst match to me was the big clusterfuck of Street Profits, Hit Row, Los Lotharios, Maximum Male Models. I gave it a C because in comparison to some of the other stuff, it's just not there for me. It's just a clusterfuck lost on a good show. That's what it is. That's the best way to describe it. And it by no means is meant to be a negative to any of these guys. They're all solid. It's just like the pacing of a show is good match, good match, good match. Here's this, and I don't like Los Lotharios are okay. Maximum Male Models are okay. I do like Hit Row, and I do love the Street Profits. So anytime you get 8 people in a ring, it's kind of a clusterfuck, and it's never going to be my favorite kind of wrestling. Once again, though, the notable mid-card match of the week to me was the Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes. Gave it a 90. Great start to the show. Gave fucking energy to the show. Every time fucking Sheamus and Gunther get into a ring together, the chemistry is off the charts. Should have been the best match of the night had the Karrion Kross stuff not happened. I think this would have been my match of the night. But I have no complaints. I have no complaints. And I want to talk about, like, Triple H has showed what booking, like, just little tweaks in booking. Sheamus has never been this over as a babyface. It's incredible. It's amazing. The crowd is so fucking behind Sheamus while still, I think, respecting the heel work of Gunther. You talk about elevating two guys. You talk about the perfect situation, the perfect rivalry, the perfect feud, whatever you call it, that elevates both sides. This is it. Everybody involved in this is being elevated, from Imperium to the Brawling Brutes to Pete Dunne to Ridge Holland. Everybody, Ludwig, everybody's getting something from this, and continue this on. And this will probably be my match of the night if Karrion Kross doesn't come out and give you the bonus points, like I said. As far as Monday Night Raw goes, my top match of the night, which is interesting because I'm not a flippy flip wrestling guy, but Johnny Gargano and Chad Gable I thought was the best match on Monday Night Raw. I thought it was a slow-moving Monday Night Raw, not one of the best. I liked Theory coming out in the end and kind of getting involved. I gave this a 90. That's a generous score for a match that featured a lot of wrestling, but I am excited to see what Gargano does. He is an undersized guy. This is the right place that you put an undersized guy. You don't main event with this guy, but you can allow him ample time at a good hour of the show to show off and do what he does. It does, to me, though, show that size matters in wrestling, because these are two small guys, and I noticed these are two small guys when I watched this match. But it had the right amount of time. It wasn't too long. They got the time right. The theatrics were right. And I think that when it finally kind of swerves into being Theory and Gargano, we're gonna, whatever path we take to get there, that is the right path, and that's going to be fun to watch. Raw's worst match was easy, guys, this week. It was Omos versus two jobbers. I gave it a 60 in F. That's as low as I go on my scale. How many hard resets are we doing with Omos? How many times are we going back and going, look how many of these jobbers Omos can beat up? Just send him to NXT. It's time. He's not getting over. It's either cut him or send him to NXT. And if you're me, I cut him. Like, even USA Network cut the feed during the Omos match. It's never going to happen. Like, unfortunately. And it's sad for a guy like Omos, but it's just, there's no personality. MVP can't get him over. He's not, like, they try to sell him as super athletic in the ring, but he's stiff. It's just, it's probably never going to happen. Let him run in NXT and see if he can create some kind of monster persona. He probably needs a mask. He needs a gimmick. He needs a big, scary gimmick. He might do good in the Judgment Day as just like a fucking like Frankenstein character, but he's not getting over, and resetting him with jobbers is just like, it's old. You're not at this point. It's more of an eye roll moment than it is like, oh my God, look at what this guy can do to people. The notable mid-card match of the night, and I call this a mid-card match because that's what it was Dominic Mysterio versus Edge. And I'm sure everybody knew that my opinion was coming on this. Graded an 85 because this match was more about making up for bad booking with the Judgment Day than it was about giving Dominic Mysterio a moment. Guys, we got to be real. If we're going to be real about Omos, we got to be real about Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio has zero charisma. He can't fucking sell it. He can't get the crowd involved. He's not horrible skill-wise. I'll admit it. He's not great, but he's not horrible skill-wise. But he is as interesting and as charismatic as a wet paper bag. That's what it is. And you guys are going to go, why do you hate him so much? I don't. But when I watch, and this is the main event, we've gone now from just putting Dominic Mysterio on Monday Night Raw, where I don't think he belongs to. Dominic Mysterio was the main event of Monday Night Raw this past week. And he dropped the ball. He dropped the initial promo was weird with the weird camera cuts and being right up in his face. And I think that's just because they know everything's going to come off kind of uncomfortable. So we'll just make it even more uncomfortable by putting the camera right in his face. Look, man, it's not that the roadmap for Dominic is not hard. Lay into the Eddie Guerrero shit. Don't give me the half-ass little shimmy. Go all in. Give me fucking Eddie Guerrero charisma. Sell it. He sells it like it reminds me of a kindergartner at an elementary school play when it's like their turn to read their lines and they fucking tense up and they can't deliver like that fucking performance that you want from somebody who's in the main event of Monday Night Raw. Like, let's give Dom a lowrider. Fuck it, I know he's part of the Judgment Day, but give him some lowrider that's got demons painted on it. Sell the whole experience. Put a package around him. Right now, Dominic Mysterio's character, for all purposes, is just Rhea Ripley's submissive bitch. That's all it is. That's what they're packaging him as. That's what he's being sold as. Rhea Ripley is 100% in control. That's fine. Like, if that's... You guys are cool. If that's the guy y'all want to wear that t-shirt... You do your thing, but I'm not getting behind that fucking person. No charisma, and he's just Rhea Ripley's submissive bitch. That's all he is. No wonder Rey Mysterio looks so fucking sad every week. As a matter of fact, the best match we can make at this point for Extreme Rules, the match that should main event Extreme Rules should be a custody ladder match between Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. Winner gets to take fucking Dominic home. Did I say, I don't know if I said Dominic. It should be between Rey Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. I don't remember if I said Dominic, but it should be a custody ladder match between Rey Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. I was a little fired up about that. Let's talk one more time a little bit about AEW. So there was a little more news that came out from the AEW thing, and it feels like to me the entire world has just decided to dogpile onto CM Punk at this point. I guess sides have been chosen. And apparently, former AEW wrestler who was let go, Bobby Fish, has decided that he needed to grab 2 cents from this whole situation. Bobby Fish was quoted as saying, "Phil is not a bad pro wrestler, but what Phil is not is a martial artist." Oh, no, we've seen that. We saw that in UFC. He's definitely not a martial artist. "I've been doing martial arts since I was 8 years old, so I take a lot of pride in it." I mean, all right, cool. "You are insulting the audience's intelligence." Okay, what? Where are we going with this, Bobby? "It's honestly insulting for you as one of my coworkers. As a martial artist, you're asking me to go out and sell. Put over your bunk-ass martial arts. It's insulting to the audience. It's insulting to me. At the same time, I'm working for AEW. They're the ones paying my check. You asked me to go out there and put my shoulders down for Phil Brooks. I go out and do it." Now the issue, I'm going to get into this, but I like so much confusion from this statement. The issue between these two seems to be that when CM Punk and Bobby Fish had a match, Bobby Fish kicked out after a 3 count, like at 3.1, he kicked out. He didn't fully sell CM Punk beating him. Here's the problem. Like I said, I've never wanted, I've been critical of CM Punk. I don't want to become a CM Punk apologist, but if these fucking clown show circus animals keep saying stupid shit, I have to side with CM Punk and say I understand his frustration within a company that has a bunch of fucking buffoons like Bobby Fish running around. Bobby Fish, this is pro fucking wrestling. If you want to be a karate guy, If you want to be a martial artist, there's a company called UFC you could go join where you get your face smashed in. Ask CM Punk about it. He tried it. It doesn't work out that way. This is pro wrestling. We as fans aren't expecting you guys to have full-on martial arts skills. In fact, we don't even fucking know the difference half the time. I will tell you, if you think that a guy has to be a martial artist in order to beat you in the ring, then you're never, who the fuck are you? When are you ever getting over? You think people who wrestled with the fucking Undertaker thought, oh, I'm not going to fucking job out for this guy who thinks he's a demon? This is what pro wrestling, it's fake. It's a show. It's a spectacle. CM Punk doesn't have to be a martial artist. He just has to pretend to be a martial artist. The problem is you got like this. This isn't fucking Cobra Kai. You're not fighting to the death. When you say I put my shoulders on the mat, it's what the fucking paycheck is for. That's what you're being paid to do, is be an actor in the movie. I don't get these AEW guys. Well, I don't understand why they feel like this relationship they have to have with the crowd. I get like they're speaking to the niche AEW fanboys, but what are you talking about? Martial artists and putting your shoulders down. This is pro wrestling, motherfucker. You have to sell. Sometimes you're going to be the B side of the match. Sometimes you're going to lose. Sometimes you have to put somebody over who may not be able to beat you in a real fight. You have to take the pin. It's in the fucking script. Just imagine for a moment, some C-list actor walks onto the set of like Mission Impossible, right? And he's got a background in fucking jujitsu. And he feels like he can out karate fucking Tom Cruise. So he just walks in and starts beating the shit out of Tom Cruise. Or he goes to the director and goes, you know what? I don't like this scene where Tom Cruise beats me up. I know that he is the A-list actor. I know he's being paid all the money, but I'm a better martial artist, and I feel like if I'm going to lay down for him, he should show me more respect. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. This is my problem with AEW. Somebody not named CM Punk should have chewed Bobby Fish's ass out when he came back behind that curtain. Everybody in AEW is afraid to look bad. Nobody at this point wants to put anybody else over. They have a fear of looking bad. MJF wouldn't do it for Wardlow. Bobby Fish won't do it for CM Punk. Nobody wants to look weak or lose in AEW because there's no protection. There's no overall arc of like, hey, if you lose, we have a story plan for you later in the year. It's all just about right now. And if you get fucked over, there's not a way back. Nobody wants to be Chad Gable in WWE. Chad Gable is super fucking talented. He's a wrestler, but he also understands that putting guys over is a fucking job and it pays his bills. And he understands that someone like Johnny Gargano, when he's coming in, he needs to be put over. He needs a buildup. And fucking Chad Gable goes, cool, I'll do it. And then there's somebody in the back, be it Triple H, be it Vince McMahon, whoever it was, they go, we see what you're doing. We see how good you are at putting people over. We appreciate that. That doesn't happen in AEW. AEW, look, they're done competing with WWE as far as I'm concerned. You guys are going to scream the reset, all that, but it's a niche wrestling market. That's what it is. It's for internet fanboys. They like the flips, but there's no organization. There's no structure. Tony Khan has no fucking way of, he can't go pull Bobby Fish to the side and talk to him because Bobby Fish is going to go, who the fuck are you? Yeah, you have a lot of money, but who are you? He has no credibility. I think that's where, and I think that's where Tony Khan kind of wants to be at this point. I think it's just like, I'll shut up. I'll pay the money. I can bring in the big names. But it would just be best if he'd stop mentioning WWE. If all of them would stop mentioning WWE and just go on and have their business and run their little niche wrestling company, they'd be better off. But when shit like this comes out, come on, man. I can't take the loss to a guy who's not as good at fucking martial arts as me. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you really, what are you talking about? Kane, The Undertaker, Mankind. You didn't have to believe that those guys could really beat you in a fight. They were characters. Same with Roman Reigns. I don't know that Roman Reigns can really fight. I do know that Roman Reigns is not going to beat up Brock Lesnar in a real fight. That thing's going to end in like 4.2 seconds. But what I do know is that they understand, both those guys understand what's best for the story and what's best for business. Oh, man. As far as fantasy wrestling goes, we talked about it in the beginning of the show. We're still getting organized on all of that. As far as the internal me versus Lauren, after 1 week of wrestling, you couldn't plan this any better. I came out with 272 points. Lauren came out with 270 points. After looking at our rosters, I drafted a almost predominantly SmackDown roster. This past week, Ronda Rousey scored 50, Montez scored 45, Drew McIntyre scored 33, Angelo Dawkins scored 32, Ashanti Donas scored 22, Giovanni Vinci scored 22, Gunther 22, Ludwig 22, Top Dollar 22, and Aaliyah 20 points. Those were your top scorers from SmackDown. The top scorers from Monday Night Raw were Bianca Belair scored 69 points. Dakota Kai, 60 points. Io Sky, 60 points. Finn Balor, 33. Seth Rollins, 26. Edge, 25. Johnny Gargano, 25. Omos, 22. Riddle, 22. Dominic Mysterio, 20. So anybody who is considering joining this league that we are putting together, I would go on to dropthebelt.com. I would sign up. It's free to sign up. Make yourself an account. Drop your screen name into the comments along with any answers you had to the questions I asked this week, and start doing research, man, because it's not everything you think it is. You got to look. If you look, I can go to here to the roster, and I go to who scored the most points this season. It's Drew McIntyre, but then it's Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Aaliyah. So you got to do a little bit of research. You got to kind of figure out who you want on your team. With 15 people, it will get down to the nitty gritty of we'll be picking in the let's see in the last year. We'll be picking from looks like Shanky and Shelton Benjamin. Have we seen a Shelton Benjamin appearance in a while? Those are kind of names we'll be picking from at the end of the draft. So get prepared, get ready for that. That will be fun. But make sure to go to dropthebelt.com, sign up for a free. Make sure you get the free account. There are paid accounts. I'm paying for the paid account. To run the league, to be the commissioner, you have to pay. If you're going to go make your own league, cool. That's awesome, fun. Invite me. I'll play in it. But in the CWC league, I pay. You guys just join, and we'll have fucking fun. But this has been another episode of the CWC Wrestling Podcast. Make sure to tune in every week, either on YouTube or Spotify, and please leave comments. Answer the questions I ask. Put your screen names down in the comment section. Every comment helps these videos get into the algorithm, which just helps the show grow, which just means we can do more fun things like fantasy wrestling, and we'll find more cool shit like that to do and make this a community that actually like hangs out together and has fun, and not just somebody who goes, give me all your money, because I'm not here asking for any fucking money. But as always, I am Notorious Nerdy D. Level Up Lauren will be back next week, and we can ring the final bell.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, casual wrestling community show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Dope a show that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver, or clothesline. We bringing that heat like the show, but you